Ladies and gentlemen, you've heard it from Alan Cutler. He said he loves Sean Woods.
I feel the same. I've always thought you're absolutely the best and always enjoyed being around you. And
listen to Alan Cutler, folks. He is. It's a pleasure for me, an honor to be on here with such a legend.
Everything you said was absolutely 100% correct.
Man, is this the great Alan Cutler? Is this the infamous Alan Cutler?
Of all the broadcast television people that I've encountered, you are among the absolute elite.
Cut to the chase has a 5-length lead past the 16th pole. Cut to the chase. Victor Espinoza to win it.
Continue doing what you're doing. You're really good at it.
I talk on many radio shows, and you are the best.
Be nice, America. Just have a great day.
I love the game, and I love winning.
Hello, Mark. Fifth pole, 1996.
Oh, my gosh. What? Hey, let's give it up right here. This is my guy. Yes. I'm so happy to see you.
Like we talked about downstairs, we realize, we're very aware that we come to this moment standing on the shoulders of many who have come before us, coaches, former players, alumni, supporters, the administrations. And to make this season in particular possible, it took the support and hard work of so many, not the least of which obviously are the players. My heart's full of gratitude for the opportunity to be shoulder to shoulder with these men every day.
No Filter Radio with Alan Cutler, brought to you by Quantrell Auto Group, QuantrellForLife.com.
Good afternoon. I'm Alan Cutler. Through the magic of technology, I'm amazed I'm here. I had a scary morning and a blessed morning, and I didn't think I was going to make it. The story part is so bad when I told Sean, who's at his home, we have to do this in an odd way today. I was so stupid, Sean was laughing at me. I don't want to tell the whole story now because it'll take up too much precious time with Herb Sendek. So we're going from Herb on tape to Herb live. Want to say thank you, everyone tuning in. I appreciate you tremendously. Tell a friend about it. We have Jared Peck, high school at 1:30. Derek Anderson, DA, at 1 o'clock, and I did something goofy with him that he's laughed at me. I'll tell that later. KSR's Brandon Ramsey, and right now, without further ado, a man who I have a ton of respect for, one of the great coaches in America, and I was hoping, and I told the story the other day, I was hoping that Kentucky and Santa Clara weren't going to play, but they are. So Herb Sendek, who's done a great job at Santa Clara, got a contract extension in 2025. Herb, correct me when I'm wrong. And it was on Twitter that your boss wants to give you another contract extension. You've had a great year. You're playing Kentucky. Hey, dude, thanks for joining us. How are you?
I'm doing great. It's always good to be with you, Alan.
So as you get ready for Kentucky, and by the way, folks, and I've mentioned this before, when Kentucky played that little game against Duke, when some tall guy hit a shot at the end, what was his name? He didn't miss a shot. He was 10 for 10 and 10 for 10. Oh, Leitner. Oh, yeah, that's his name. Herb put the game plan together when he was an assistant for Pitino. And thanks to Maggie Davis at our place where I worked for 1,000 years, there's a picture of Herb. You were young once. Pitino, Rock, Tubby with a mustache, and Bernadette. And I used to tease Tubby that he should grow his mustache back, and he said, I'm the head coach now. I can't do it. It's not the right look. Tubby rocked a great mustache. So let's go down memory lane a little bit. When you saw that picture, I sent it to you, and you quickly gave it a love back. That had to bring a smile to your face with your beautiful time here in Lexington, Kentucky, working for Rick.
Right. There's no question about it. Right away, your mind takes a trip down memory lane. It's hard to believe it was that long ago right now. It seems like just yesterday. But those 4 years I spent in Lexington were among the very best of my life. Forever be grateful for that opportunity and to be a part of that amazing staff, obviously led by Coach Pitino. But you look at who else was on board with us over the course of that 4-year period. It really was an amazing opportunity.
Tell us about your team. You shoot tons of threes. I watch you at every opportunity when you're on someplace nationally, and I love how you spread the court and your guys share the ball.
Yeah, we have an extraordinary group of young men. I mean, they are just really, really good people. And I think that carries over to the court, to your point, Alan. They're very quick to help make each other better. They do a good job of hitting the open man, making the extra pass, and helping each other on the defensive end of the floor. But just a really, really solid group of guys.
You having as much fun coaching now as you did forever ago? I mean, you've only been doing this for 1,000
I
years.
might be having more fun. As we've talked about in the past, I'm socially dysfunctional. I don't play golf. I don't play tennis. And so what am I going to do? I don't play poker or pinochle. So I love being in the gym. I've been there since I've been in diapers with my father having coached. And I'm enjoying it as much today as I did the day I started.
You know, it's kind of interesting in our different worlds. There's a similarity, I think, that I appreciate broadcasting more now than I did before because I'm doing my hobby. So you're doing your hobby that you love and you're getting paid for it. Ditto here, me too. So this is your hobby and your love. If you're coaching when you're 75, I'm not going to be surprised.
Hey, listen, I had two grandfathers who were coal miners in Western Pennsylvania. So you're never going to hear me complaining about coaching.
Wow. Interesting. So I used to tease Rick that he was going to be coaching when he was 70 when he was here. And he said, I'm not going to be an old coach. And I sent him a text about a year ago. I said, I bet you're coaching when you're 80. And he said back, shut up. And I bet he will be, Lord willing, with his health.
Yeah, I've heard that not only from coach, but from other distinguished, legendary coaches that, they make a statement when they're in their 50s or even 60s that, they're not going to do this much longer or forever. And then Father Time keeps racing, and guess what? It's hard to let go, and they keep coaching. And although recently we've seen some guys maybe retire a little bit earlier, but once it gets in your blood, it's really hard to stop.
Tell the world how many first-round draft choices at Santa Clara you've had in the last 5 years going into the NBA.
Yeah, we just have had two. We have Jalen Williams at Oklahoma City and Brandon Pajimski at Golden State.
Okay, stop with your modesty. You just had two. With all due respect, and Jalen just got a huge.
You led the question like I was going to say we've had 15. So I had to pull back a little bit.
Don't this is me. Don't pull back on me.
You made it sound like I was going to give you a litany of players like UK or Duke. We have two.
Well, two is great. Okay, so wait a second. Jalen just got a new contract. He's an unbelievable player. I happened to watch the Knicks the other night when they played Golden State, and he had 25, 2 games in a row, 25, and he's getting better and better and better. Here's my point. Williams wasn't recruited, you tell me if I'm wrong, by Duke and North Carolina and Kentucky, and he calls himself Paz. I don't know what you call it, but I saw
Pajimski.
Yeah, Pajinski, I don't think he was recruited by Kentucky and Duke and North Carolina and Alabama. So you're finding young people and you're spotting talent and you help them grow and develop. It's Santa Clara. No disrespect to Santa Clara, but you can't get the recruits that Duke has. And look, you said two guys, first rounders to the NBA, and they're both having wonderful careers.
Yeah, those are two extraordinary guys. I mean, it's amazing the trajectory that each of them are on and what they're accomplishing right now. We're obviously really proud of them. But to your point, Alan, we very much see ourselves as a developmental program. We want to recruit good high school players and hopefully be able to retain them, help them get better, and as many guys as we can help, achieve their ultimate dream of playing in the NBA. That's wonderful. And at the same time, a degree from Santa Clara is, in all likelihood, life-changing. It's an incredible academic institution.
So you don't coach dummies.
So we have guys who typically come from families who really value higher education, and the school is just tremendous. And the alumni here do very well. It really has a great culture as well.
You know what I found interesting, and this is one I had to look up, that in 52, when not a lot of teams were part of the NCAA, Santa Clara actually made the Final Four. And Santa Clara, you've made the NCAA tournament probably more than a lot of Kentucky fans realize, because why would they realize Santa Clara? So although it's been a while since you guys made the tournament, there's a lovely history for basketball going back a long time.
There really is. And, we've had some legendary coaches like Carol Williams and Dick Davey, a number of NBA players, back in the day. Certainly, everybody who's a basketball fan can identify with the legendary Steve Nash, um, who played here and was two-time MVP in the NBA.
So give us a light game plan about what Kentucky has, and maybe a little bit more or less what you would when you go tell the media this week when you're facing a ton of people.
Yeah, we're still in the early stages of putting our game plan together. One of the good things about playing Friday, you have a little bit extra time. Um, we'll travel to St. Louis tomorrow and obviously have the early game on Friday. But obviously, the one thing that really is striking is just their overall talent quotient, their length, their size, their athleticism. It really jumps off the screen when you watch them on tape.
I've always thought the West Coast Conference, no, I'm not saying it's the ACC or the SEC or anything like that, but I've always thought it's a better conference than given advertised. Gonzaga has given a ton of respect to it. St. Mary's has been wonderful under Randy Bennett for a long, long, long time. And you beat St. Mary's twice. You couldn't beat Gonzaga this year, but watching your games, if the way you play Gonzaga and stuff, I would imagine your confidence is, hey, if we can play that close with Gonzaga, we can play with anybody.
Yeah, this team has done a really good job of looking in the mirror and being where their feet are and staying focused on whomever we play next. But at the same time, they understand, I think, the most important team always is us, right? And regardless of who we play, we just really try to focus on the things that we can control. And I think our team has done a good job of just being very even keel. They've handled adversity well. They've handled some success well.
When you're recruiting, does it get to the point that if you can't shoot a three, you're not going to recruit him because your big guys shoot, your guards shoot? I mean, the court, it seems like, for years, basically everybody who's on the court can shoot a three.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's the evolution of the game. I don't know that you have to go so far as everybody, but if you have a team that can't shoot, ultimately it's going to be hard to win at a high level. And you remember even when we first started with Coach Pitino at Kentucky, those first teams, we lived by the three and we died by the three, right? I wouldn't say we're necessarily doing that with our squad this year, but the three-point shot, both offensively and defensively, is as important as any facet of the game right now. And it seems just like when we can't have any more of a three-point emphasis, you'll turn an NBA game on and some NBA team will take a gazillion threes.
Reed Shepherd the other night crossed the midcourt line, didn't pass the ball to anybody, was by the logo. He throws it up and nothing but swish. Didn't pass, whatever, just felt it, and he's throwing in. It was like a 35-footer.
It's amazing. The shooting ability of guys today is just staggering, and nothing like the NBA to see that. I mean, the shot making ability of those guys is just insane.
Got a funny Patino story that probably wasn't funny at the time, but when you get together, have a soft drink, that you laugh about it. Because I know Rick loves together with the former players who pick on him, who said, "Coach, you did," and he just laughs. He's got a great sense of humor with that stuff when it's outside that particular environment.
Right. Historically, he has a great sense of humor about it, and we all do. And one thing I found about not only my experience with Coach Pitino, but even beyond, is when guys come back, former players, or anytime they congregate,
they always talk about what was most difficult, what they had to overcome, the hardest day of the season. That's what they embrace. They don't ever talk about when they got over, when they cut a corner, when things were just so easy. And it's great when you get together and able to tell those quote war stories, and inevitably they circle back to when things were hard. And I to your question, you'll remember this. Coach Pitino loved to play and was a tremendous pickup basketball player, and even a better one-on-one player. When he would speak at the old five-star camp, he would take the top 5 high school players in the country, bring them out onto the court, and literally embarrass them. And then he loved to play pickup with us. So we, as you know, would play pickup in Memorial Coliseum most mornings, depending on our schedule, at 5 or 6 in the morning. And then we'd go right into individual instruction, right into practice, get a bite to eat, come back in the evening to do our film work. And it literally was a 24/7 proposition. And we were getting up so early that Tubby Smith started to wear his clothes to bed, and with his shoes right at the base of the bed, because he wanted every precious last second of sleep. And one morning, he got up, he drove to Memorial Coliseum, and nobody was there. Pitch black. And he was just beside himself, right? And he calls me, and I answer the phone, kind of startled because it was in the middle of the night. I'm thinking, oh my God, what happened? This can't be good. Tubby's on the phone. He starts giving me the business that, how come we didn't tell him that we canceled this morning? He could have slept in a little bit. I said, Tubby, yo, it's 3 in the morning, buddy. It's 3 in the morning. You're 2 hours early. He was so disoriented, but it was the best of times.
Now, that part of the story Tubby never told me, but he has told me, laughing as he said it, why he used to sleep with his shorts on and the sneakers by the bed. And the first time he did it, Donna thought he was out of his mind. And he's telling me, Donna, you don't understand. This is Coach, okay? I can't be a minute late. He'll go ballistic. And a minute late, which means you're 5 minutes early.
Yeah, and I don't know that he was so much doing it not to be late. I just think he needed every second of sleep. And then by the time we actually started playing, he had drank so much coffee that he'd run around the gym just, full of energy, right? And he'd be grabbing the rim, touching the rim, running around. Everybody else is just barely able to touch their toes, trying to get loose that time of day. And then by practice at 2 o'clock that afternoon, he needed another supply of coffee to get through it.
It's funny you say Rick taking on those kids. I did one story at 5-Star when I was working at KDK in Pittsburgh, and Howard Garfinkel then introduced me to Pitino. It was the first time I'd ever met him. And he was beaten. It was a great play, went to North Carolina. Was it Reed? He was a first-team All-American. Wasn't there a play named Reed?
There was a Reed from Virginia. There was a Reed from Virginia who went to North Carolina, a big guy.
He was the number 1 player in the country. That's the year at the 5-Star camp that I did a story, because I got to talk to him, talk to Rick, and he's schooling Reed, this beautiful 6'9" athlete.
No, you don't understand. Year after year after year, I don't care who the guy was, could not beat him one-on-one. And not only could not beat him, but couldn't even compete with him. Now, Coach was much better on offense. If he had the ball, you were in trouble. Now, defensively, he did what he had to, but once he got the ball, you were in trouble.
By the way, I never told you this, but by pure accident, I actually saw him play in the Garden one time. We were in the second to last row. He had long, floppy hair when he was playing for UMass, and he was chunky then. And I've told him he was chunky then. The first time I told that, he started yelling at me. He said, Rick, you were chunky. And guess what? Didn't pass the ball. Every shot that was there, he took whether it was there or not. He was a chucker. And we got along good back then. I said, you were a chucker. And he started yelling at me. We just started laughing.
Oh yeah. He's not now. I tell you what, I mean, he's in better shape today than maybe when he played. I mean, as you know, Alan, he works out religiously. He's in phenomenal shape, and what he continues to do in coaching is amazing. I literally stand in awe. I stand in awe. I watch him do it. I was able to be by his side, and I still am not sure I know how he does it.
I don't either. Look, I asked for 15 minutes. We went long. You got a million things doing. You've graced me through your time. You know this. You're one of my favorite all-time people I've ever met in broadcasting and just in general. I root like hell for you.
Thanks, Alan.
You are literally the best, and Santa Clara is lucky to have you. God bless you, Herb.
All right, thanks, Alan. Appreciate you, buddy. Always great seeing you.
And say hi to your better half for me.
Likewise. Take care, buddy.
Thanks, Herb Sendek, the great Herb Sendek. Jimmy, Tubby never told me that part of the story about the 3 a.m. He's told it. He's told the story. He did it one time when he was on my show. The story about 6 a.m. and that kind of stuff. Can you imagine that? Seriously, seriously. And he's really funny about explaining to Donna why he had to not only have his shorts on, his shorts and his shirt. Okay, and his sneakers right by the bed to go. Can you imagine getting up at 3 a.m.? You're, discombobulated like we all can getting up in the middle of the night or something like that. And it's like, oh, I got to go. And by the way, Herbert didn't really talk about, God forbid you were late 5 minutes when he wanted to play. It wasn't just for players, it was coaches. Can you imagine going to Memorial Coliseum and it's pitch dark and you're quaking up Herbie and you're yelling at him, why didn't you tell me it was canceled? Can't you picture that?
I wish those games were somehow filmed back in the day. Just all of the, whatever coaching staff, just those kind of games. And if the players got to watch it, they would have just ate it up.
Let me put it this way. The refereeing was done by guess who?
Tino.
Do you think it was slightly skewed?
Probably.
Yeah, the next time I have Tubby on, you know what? I've never asked him that on the air, off the air, but what it was like, because Rick was the judge of the games and stuff like, a foul! I didn't foul you. It's a foul!
The call your own fouls rule was only for Patino.
No, not only for Patino. My understanding, Cliff Hagan did kind of the same thing, in the Hall of Fame, and for years had to pick up games at noon where, he's in his 50s and he's throwing 15-foot hook shots with his left and right hand. I still will never understand why the hook shot isn't in basketball. And if it was me, I'd have had Cal. I would have either brought him or Jabbar, either Cliff Hagan or Jabbar. It'd be Cliff first, and I would have taught Oscar the hook shot. But I've said that many, many times. Now, you've never met Herb. I don't know if you've listened to Sound of Herb outside the couple sound. Doesn't he come across as a great guy?
He really does. Just a genuine good guy who happens to be a very good basketball coach. But that has to be how you get recruits at that level, is the players still have that one-on-one connection with you as a coach, as opposed to, I just want to use you as my springboard to go to the NBA.
I don't think he ever curses, by the way. And he's not a yeller. And by the way, he went to Carnegie Mellon, which is like Yale light. He turned down a job for $75,000 at a college to work for nothing to become a basketball coach. Turned down a finance job. You go to Carnegie Mellon, you get the grades that he has. You know this. I think most folks know this. You get recruited. You get recruited out of college for a job. And he has this, I knew what the job was. I don't remember now, but that's a lot of money today. But think about, you're talking about the 1980s. That kind of money coming. And usually those are the kind of jobs, if you do well, that you end up making tons more. But he's always done what he wanted. And by the way, I'm not kidding. Would it surprise me if he's coaching when he's 75? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. I mean, he's got over 600 wins, doesn't he? I'll have to look it up. I'm pretty sure it's over 600 wins. And the crazy part, I was talking to Hoops yesterday, and Hoops knows him really well, too, because Dick Hoops Weiss, who's in like 8 Hall of Fames, spent a year here with that staff when he wrote a Patino book, and he loves Herb. He just absolutely loves Herb, and he thinks he's one of the all-time greats. What we've both have said, Herb was at NC State, and you can see how quiet he was, right? Soft-spoken. Well, Jimmy, that's how he's always been. And he took a lot of heat from the media just because he was the way he was. You know, going against the Dean Smiths of the world and that kind of stuff. He actually did a really good job at NC State, but they became tired of him not challenging North Carolina head to head. If you look at his record, NCAA record, it was really good. They eventually parted ways. This is after he was very successful at Miami of Ohio and gets a job at Arizona State. And if you look at his record at Arizona State, and they got tired, he couldn't win big, but he won. And he took him the dance a bunch of times and that kind of stuff. Take a look at the record. And since he's left, Jimmy, guess what? They haven't been as good. Now, NC State got to the Final Four a couple of years ago, as everybody knows, as the Cinderella team. But really, from the time Herb left until that team happened, he did a better job at NC State. So, I mean, these are numbers. This is not me shilling because I think he is one of my favorite people in the world. I mean, literally. And so because he doesn't have, it's not his personality, panache, outgoing. Let's put it this way. He's not Jim Valvano, okay? And it took somebody like Jim Valvano to do what happened. Is that right? Exactly 600?
He got his 600th win last week when they beat St. Mary's. March 9th.
Okay, I'm embarrassed because you know what? I watched that game. They talked about it, and I forgot to. Actually, I sent him a text. Congratulations. Wow, that's a bad senior moment on my part, isn't it?
Knowing how he is too, he probably would have not been, not know what to do and take the compliment that you give him talking about his 600th win because you're on to the next win and all that.
But I should have brought it up. I absolutely should have brought it up. Okay, he's 62. Is that right? Help me out with that. And so let's play a little math. I don't know anything privately or not. Would it surprise me if he coaches at Santa Clara for the next? You got his age?
He just turned 63 in February.
Okay, that was close. 63. Let's say he coaches 12 more years. He might not get 900 wins. Wouldn't surprise me if he does, and wouldn't surprise me if he's coaching past them. Let's put it this way. It won't surprise me when he retires, and a lot of it based on longevity. But if you're not any good, you don't get longevity, okay? It would not surprise me if he finishes his coaching career as one of the top 10 all-time when it comes to wins in the history of college basketball. That's not an outrageous statement, is it?
No. And to think now, like coaching at 75, I feel like it's just different now than it used to be 30 years ago. If you were to say you want to coach at 75, that would be, ancient years. But now, I mean, 75 is not that far out of He looks great, too, for 63.
Yeah, he takes care of himself. And his wife is lovely, by the way. Does that surprise you?
No.
With more spunkiness than Herb. Does that surprise you?
Yeah, I feel like he's the tame one.
Yeah. Yeah, it's kind of funny. They were sort of kind of opposites, but as soon as you saw them together, you're going, oh, this is going to work.
Perfect.
I mean, yeah, because they started dating when Herb was here, and I knew her back. I haven't talked to her since Herb left here. It's not the point, but she was a lovely gal from Boyle County. So anyway, that was fun. I think that gives a different insight on about who's Kentucky playing. Now, can you see why I didn't want Santa Clara to play Kentucky?
Yeah, and I feel like people listening now, they're kind of stuck in a situation because now, once you get to hear Herb and like how he is as a person, it's like, oh, what? Well, I want him to do good too. It's like you said, exactly why now you're in a conundrum of all the teams Kentucky could face. It's a great coach.
I'm going to put it this way. I'm sure people will disagree. I always want Kentucky to win. I said that a gazillion times. When you want a criticism, whatever, that's just how I feel. But if Kentucky has to lose to anybody in the first round, I would want it to be Santa Clara. Does that make any sense, or does that sound too negative?
No, I could see that, and I feel the same way. Where you wouldn't feel as bad if Santa Clara goes on to beat them because they're a good team. It's a good program. It won't be a fluke. Put it that way.
Yeah, I don't think it would be a fluke. I mean, Kentucky should win. There's no question about it. Kentucky should win. And here's the part that everybody's misconstruing about Santa Clara. They are a three-point shooting team, but their percentage of makes is equal to Kentucky. That's equal to Kentucky. They just take more. If I remember right, they average like 29 a game. And since I've watched Herb through the years, and they're not on ESPN a lot, but, they're sometimes on 2 or a late game. If they're playing St. Mary's or Gonzaga and a couple other teams, have I watched them 10 times this year? I have not. more than 5. I mean, so I'm trying to say it's not like Kentucky when every game is on TV, but they are more physical. He's got stronger athletes than I think he's ever had. But I love how they share the ball. Jimmy, I will be shocked, knowing what you know about basketball, when you watch them play, that you don't say, unless Kentucky's defense is so good they take him out of their game. And I got to tell you something. I know we're late for a break. I got to tell you something. In my humble opinion, the defense that Gonzaga put on them in the second half, and there are other people saying this, the best defense. Every time I've watched Gonzaga this year, I think it's the best defensive team Mark Few has had. And Santa Clara was winning in the first half, and it looked really good. And I don't think Santa Clara did anything wrong. It's a credit to Gonzaga. They clamped down. And they got a couple of freshman guards, Gonzaga. One of them has gotten so much better than them when they played Kentucky, as you would expect. It's not even funny. That Gonzaga team, they're really good. They're really good. And I'm watching the second half, and my heart is breaking because of how I feel about Herbie. And about halfway through the second half, even though, they had a chance to come back, you had a feeling they weren't going to come back because Gonzaga took them out of their game. And plus, it's like anything else. As Kentucky knows Tennessee so well, it's the same conference. Well, guess what? Gonzaga and Santa Clara, they know each other really well. And the other thing, too, is Pope knows Santa Clara, and Santa Clara knows Pope. They used to play each other a whole bunch. So there really aren't any secrets here. Mark Pope is not going to be surprised at anything that Herb Sendek does because he does the same thing. It's a matter of stopping him. And the way Herb is, I don't think he's going to be really surprised about what Pope does. Now, he's going to change a little bit based upon personnel. I will tell you this. Santa Clara has changed less than Kentucky has because Pope isn't doing still exactly what he wants to do. There's no question about it. I'm not ripping him for it. He's just not. And he's even said it. Well, guess what? Herb does what Herb wants to do slight alterations. That's based upon your personnel. But the general theme and the general temperature of what he's going to do, Gonzaga knows everything they're going to do. He knows everything Gonzaga's going to do. Now you got to stop it. And they spread the court the same way all the time. They're fun to watch. Oh, my gosh, it's 12:33. I am super, super late. Give me your one more feeling about Herb before we go to a break.
I would love to hear him tell more stories about just being an assistant here with Tubby and Pitino. Just that, the three of them on one coaching staff is pretty remarkable. And I would love to hear some Steve Nash stories. Like, what was Steve Nash like as a college guy? Like, did he know at the time that he was going to be, two-time MVP?
Well, no, he played for Davie, a former coach.
I'm sorry. Yeah, he was just at Santa Clara.
Right,
yeah.
But he's been around the program, and Herb does know him well. Plus, the other guy I hadn't talked about that I was close to was Ralph Willard, who grew up as Rick Pitino's best friend, who did a great job at Western Kentucky and ended up doing a really good job at Holy Cross and shouldn't take the job at Pitt. I'm not going in now. But literally, Pitino and Ralph Willard went to the same high school. Ralph Willard was 1 or 2 years ahead. I don't remember, but a little older, and they were best friends. Last story. I know we're late. Oh, my gosh, late for a break. When Ralph left and got the job at Western, which Pitino helped him get, he calls me up, and I'm saying, congratulations. He goes, exactly like this. You know what I'm not going to miss about you, Cutler? This is when you're closer to staffs than you are now. I don't know these guys on Pope's staff. Don't know them at all. You know I'm not going to miss Cutler? I know he's getting me, but I don't know what it's. What's that? You call me up and tell me how to be a coach. And we both started laughing like crazy. That's what that staff was like. That's how I was with Herb and stuff like that. Relationships were so. Can you imagine a coach today calling me up or anybody in the media and doing that?
No, not a chance.
Not a chance. And in a way, I feel that I'm very fortunate that I had that as part of my career. And in a way, it's kind of sad because these young kids coming up, and I don't mean kids derogatory. You know me better than that, Jimmy, anyway. These young kids coming up, they will not experience that. They will not experience it. Coaches won't get close to the media. And a lot of the reasons, I don't blame the coaches. Now, I don't want to go on a tangent, but they can't have what I have. They can't have what Dick Hoops Weiss had. It just can't. And he had a lot more than I had with coaches across the country from what he did. It's really sad. It's the way it is. It's the way it is. Talk about me talking too much. Do you think I might have talked too much?
No. I mean, your name's on the show.
That's true. But I'm late for Brandon Ramsey. If I wasn't, then I wouldn't feel bad at all. Brandon, hang on. And I tell you what, if you're thinking about buying a car, hang on to this name, Quantrell. Cadillacs, Subarus, Volvos. We've had not one, not two, but 3 cars from them in about a decade plus. Driving should feel personal, protected, centered, completely at ease the moment you pull onto the road. That's the Volvo difference. Thoughtful design, quiet confidence, and safety always working in the background so you can simply breathe and drive. Plus, the luxury of Volvo is often more within reach than expected. That's why Volvo deserves your first look. At Quattro Volvo, Brentley and Mark, friends of mine, have built a dealership that's calm, respectful, and genuinely helpful. Right now, get 0.99, 0.99, 0.99% APR for 36 months on most 2026 models. See dealer for details. Visit QuattroVolvo.com. Brandon Ramsey coming up next. Alan Cutler, 1300 AM, 92.5 FM.
The Alan Cutler Show on ESPN 92.5 and 1300 AM and on the ESPN Lexington app. Presented by Republic Bank.
Hi, this is Alan Cutler. Have a no-filter comment? Hit the text line, 859-381-1313. 859-381-1313.
Hey, I'm Dale Wise. I've just recently retired. I know that the electronics, if you don't keep up with it, it can get away from you and get real confusing. Republic Bank's app, I use their app, and it is so easy to use. I log in with my fingerprint, so it's super easy. I don't have to remember 50 million different passwords and all that stuff. And it lays it out just real nice.
That's Dale's story. Now let's get to work on yours. Republic Bank. Time to thrive. Member FDIC. Data rates may apply.
Hey everyone, it's Matthew Lawrence. Tomorrow at 4:30 on Wildcat Drive with me and Jimmy, Dr. Eli Capilouto will be in our studio for a discussion about many things. Lynn Martin, the owner of LM Communications Media Group, will join us. Text us, 859-381-1313, if you have a question for Dr. Eli Capilouto on Wildcat Drive.
Hi, this is Alan Cutler. Driving should feel personal, protected, centered, completely at ease the moment you pull onto the road. That's the Volvo difference. Thoughtful design, quiet confidence, and safety always working in the background so you can simply breathe and drive. We love our VC60. Plus, the luxury of Volvo is often more within reach than expected. That's why Volvo deserves your first look. At Quattro Volvo, Brentley and Mark, friends of mine, they have built a dealership that's calm, respectful, and genuinely helpful. Right now, get 0.99%. That's 0.99% APR for 36 months on most 2026 models. See dealer for details. Visit QuattroVolvo.com today.
Houchins Insurance Group is proud to partner with Auto Owners Insurance, a company that provides opportunity for independent agents to make insurance simple for their clients, offering risk management services that range from a renter's policy for your college student to home and auto coverage for your entire family. Houchins Insurance Group assures you that nobody works harder to keep you protected from life's uncertainties.
Reach out to AJ Boss or Zach Bennett at 859-263-2771 to see if Auto Owners Insurance makes sense for you.
Brad Taylor, ESPN Radio. Want to win a trip to Las Vegas? All you got to do is beat Brad's brackets. Go to ESPNLex.com after the brackets are announced and fill out your bracket. If your bracket beats my bracket, you're in the running for a 3-night getaway to the Circa Resort and Casino in Las Vegas. The prize includes a $500 airline gift card, luxury airport limo service, a day bed at Stadium Swim, and drink vouchers at Legacy Club. Beat Brad's brackets, win Las Vegas. For rules, go to ESPNLex.com.
Back to No Filter Radio with Alan Cutler. Podcasts on Apple, Spotify, and Google, Monday through Friday.
Jimmy, I did it again. Welcome back. You're not going to be surprised, right? So I scheduled Brandon Ramsey for 12:30. There was a little problem. Brandon is always on time. My first thought was, did I make a mistake again? Yes. I looked at the text to Brandon. He agreed to come on 1:30. So I asked him, can you jump on now? He happens to be around. So he'll be on in a minute. I'm doing this a lot the last 6-8 weeks, aren't I?
It's weird. I mean, to be fair, your track record has been pretty solid for having at least 2 or 3 guests every day for 4 years.
Yeah, but I went, I think, almost a couple years without making a mistake like this, and I've made a bunch. Okay, I got to tell you about my morning, and hopefully, Jimmy, you're going to laugh at me. Do you like laughing at me?
Occasionally.
You liar. You liar.
It presents itself, yeah.
So I had a little problem. I've had Kegel, which is, if you have to have cancer, it's the best form on my skin. Grew up on the beach and didn't take care of myself like everybody else and whatever. And if you have something come on your face, and I get checked every 6 months, and please get checked. Please get checked. Please get checked. Please get checked. If something happens on your face as a particular thing, my doctor said, you better go call right away. Better call. So I called yesterday. He's busy till April. They hooked me up with a doctor I didn't know before, so my appointment's 9 o'clock. I can leave my house at 20 to 9 and get there 5 minutes before. I think I'm being smart. I left at 8:22, Jimmy. I got there just before 10 o'clock. Okay? Like you're at home. So it took me 22 minutes to get to the light out of my neighborhood where it's normally 5 or 6 minutes. It took me almost 12 minutes to get through the light. I am sliding like crazy. I get to one of the main intersections in Lexington, not the biggest, one of the main intersections. I can't move. There's cars coming in each direction, and I'm sliding. I can't go forward. I can't go back, and I'm sliding, and there's not a thing I can do. I was stuck in the middle of Man of War for 15 minutes. A couple of cars tried to go around me. Wasn't close to an accident. Wasn't like 6 inches. There was probably a foot and a half, 2 feet, and they're going around me while I'm slowly sliding into this person. And 2 people I hunk like crazy. The other people, when they got around me, because they can go on the left, not the right, they kind of looked at me like they felt it. There was nothing I could do. Nothing I could do. So I have this appointment supposed to be at 9 o'clock. It's past 9. And so my son-in-law lives close to us. And he says, can I help you? Well, I can't make the appointment. Forget about that. I can't get home. There's nothing. I finally got to a light. It took me a long time before I could start crawling again. I saw a little patch of wasn't ice, and I didn't move for all that time, and all of a sudden it starts moving. I get to the light, and I got to do a U-turn to go home. I can't do a U-turn. I'll go into the pole. So I go into a parking lot in a shopping center. Once I got in the parking lot, it was just snow. It wasn't ice that bad. My son says, I'll come and get you. He does. He said, look, I've got all-wheel drive, and I got new tires. I can get you. I'm going home. I'm not going to go to the doctor's appointment. So he picks me up and whatever, and he goes, I have all-wheel drive. And I went, so do I. Pause. And he goes, did you turn it on? The word I then sent back to my son-in-law, I can't use on radio, okay? We all get in trouble. I had this helpless look. Now, in defense of me, and I'm defenseless, I know where the button is, okay? It's right by the stick shift. I have never turned it on since I've owned the car. The car's a 2015. I've had it since 2000. I've never turned it on. I had an Infiniti before that, and I used it 3-4 times. I never thought about it. How ridiculous is that? So I said to my son, take me back. Let me see if it works, whatever, because he was going to take me to a doctor appointment when he said, what are you going for? And I said, I got to make sure I don't have cancer. And he goes, no, I'm going to take you. I said, you got to work. No, I'm going to take you. Let me try my car. So I put it in all-wheel drive. An amazing thing happened. I could drive.
All the wheels started working.
Now, when I got to the appointment, I had to go slow, okay, but I could go almost 10 miles an hour. Whereas before, when I left the house outside, I was going literally 5 and 6 miles an hour from the time I got out of her neighborhood and stuff like that. So I got there. I didn't hit the button, and when I left, the roads were a little better then anyway. I had no trouble getting home. I didn't turn the button on. I wasn't smart enough to realize I needed to turn the button on because I had never turned the button on. Now, how stupid on a scale of 1 to 10 is that?
That's up there. I'd give you an 8.
An 8?
Yeah, but I've made similar type mistakes,
Brandon Ramsey, kind enough to join us at KSR. Brandon, you're laughing at me too. What number would you give me?
I was thinking 8 or 9. It's definitely up there, but I have to say though, it wasn't too long ago, and during one of the more recent snowstorms, I had done something similar. I was really struggling on the roads, and then realized I didn't have my four-wheel drive on. So yeah, it's something I think we've all done, but yes, it makes you feel really stupid when you're sliding around and then all of a sudden you realize it was as much your own fault as anybody else's.
It was bad. It was bad. But the two cars that tried to pass me as I'm slipping, that was like, what do you? And I got to tell you, it's a good thing I wasn't taking my blood pressure at that moment. And then I found out I had, I don't know, the older people know this. I had to have something frozen. It's not, it wasn't cancer, but it was, when you have a certain thing happen to you, the doctor said, it's a good thing you came in. Anytime you have blood coming out of you, I'm not going to get specific. You need to call right away, which is what my main doctor said. And I had it, whatever. And so they freeze it. So I'm about 3 days from now, I'm going to have this thing on my nose that's going to look really bad. I don't care. And I should be fine. But I was smart going in. But I've had a hell of a morning. Just a hell of a morning. Brandon Ramsey, KSR, how are you?
We're doing good. We're doing good. It's March. We're looking forward to the tournament. Great time of year, right?
Thank you for jumping on at the wrong time because I told you the wrong time and expected the wrong time. I did it to you again. Tell me about, I don't know if you listened to Herb Sendek, but tell me about Santa Clara. I love their threes. He's got 2 first-rounders in the NBA over the last 5 years, guys that, Kentucky and North Carolina and Duke and those schools never look at. The Williams kid just got this humongous contract to star for Oklahoma City. Podzinski is really coming to his own with Golden State. He can really spot talent, and they share the ball.
And he's got another future first rounder right now in Alan Graves. That guy is a really, really good player. He was freshman of the year in their league, 6th man of the year in their league, first team all WCC, a very versatile 6'9", 225 forward that can pick and pop. He averages 2 steals a game. He only plays like 21 minutes, but his stats are off the charts. Second on our team is in assists as a front court guy. He is a heck of a player, and they had 2 other all WCC guys. But yeah, you're absolutely right. This team, it is up tempo. They're going to play fast. They're going to shoot threes, and they're going to pressure you 94 feet. A lot of it probably harkens back to when he spent time working for Coach Pitino, both at Providence and at Kentucky. Some of those principles still are alive today, absolutely, for him in terms of the way they pick people up. They're 22nd in the country, I think, in defensive turnover rate. They crash the offensive glass. There are certainly some things when you just look stylistically and at some of the analytics on paper, there are some things about it that make it not a great matchup for Kentucky. Now, they still play in the West Coast Conference. It's a very good league, but it's not the SEC by any means. They have not been tested in the way that Kentucky has been tested. So I'm not here to try to, scare everybody and say we have no chance to win. That's certainly not the truth. But quite frankly, I'd said it early on. I said it before the bracket came out on Selection Sunday. One of the potential 10 seeds that I would rather had not seen was Santa Clara, and that's who we're playing. So we'll see how it goes.
You've seen them in the past, though. I love how they share the ball. I love how they're unselfish. You almost never, ever, ever, not perfect. I mean, but there's certain things they're just really good at, but they almost never, ever, ever take a bad 3. That's one of the things that I really like. And I have never smelled a hint of selfishness anytime I've watched them. Never. Never. Whoever's supposed to get the shot gets the shot, and they run the court. And this is I think it's the strongest physical team that he's had.
Oh, I think so too. And on KenPom, they have an average height ranking of all the teams. They're 33rd in Division I in size. Like that's not something that a mid-major normally has. So yeah, this is a bigger team for a mid-major. They have some athletes. They have a 7'1" center who's top 50 in the country in individual block rate. So that they certainly have some pieces that they can give not just Kentucky but other high major programs some problems. They've beaten St. Mary's twice this year. They were certainly more competitive with Gonzaga than Kentucky was in 3 opportunities this year. So yeah, Kentucky's going to have their hands full. It's a team you're going to have to play well in order to beat Santa Clara.
The first half in the championship of the WCC against Gonzaga, which I watched, they outplayed Gonzaga in the first half, but Gonzaga's defense in the second half was ferocious. And I don't think Santa Clara choked at all. I just think Gonzaga turned it up a notch. And I'm looking at Few, and I don't know what his best team is. And he's had some really good teams that a lot of people expected to go deeper, and they were a sexy pick for a long time and that kind of stuff. this might be the best defensive team I've seen Gonzaga have.
Yeah, it's certainly up there. They have some athletes. They have great size with Graham Ike and those guys around the basket, probably quicker on the perimeter than they normally are. Yeah, this is a very good Gonzaga team this year, and Santa Clara certainly has given them their best shot a handful of times. This is as good of a St. Mary's team as we've seen in recent years, and they beat them 2 out of 3 times. So yeah, this is a Santa Clara team that you can't say they've played nobody. They haven't played kind of the breadth of teams that Kentucky has had, but St. Mary's, Gonzaga, a couple of the other non-conference teams they played certainly gave them a test, and it's why they're in the NCAA tournament now.
So I expect Kentucky to win. I'm expecting you expect the same thing too, but you know, it's that old cow line. If they decide to shoot 40% from threes, you know, you could see Santa Clara winning because they shoot 29 threes, but the stat that everybody's overlooked, they don't make any more than Kentucky does. They're exactly the same percentage-wise, but they shoot a lot more because they are much better in the way they spread the court.
Absolutely, and that can be the scary thing when you get into a one and done tournament in March is that yes, on paper there isn't going to be this massive difference in terms of made threes, but Santa Clara is probably going to shoot more. They might generate some more open looks, and if all of a sudden they have a game where they make 13 of them, and we all know that Kentucky at times has issues guarding opposing three-point shots, so if you allow them to get clean in rhythm looks, if you let guys like Graves get loose in the pick and pop, if you do a bad job of closing out to some guards, if you let them come off of ball screens in rhythm and make some shots, then that's how all of a sudden you find yourself behind the 8 ball late in the game and going home earlier than you want. So yeah, I think Kentucky is certainly the more talented team. I think Kentucky is the better team, but there are absolutely some things about the Santa Clara group that have me worried going into Friday afternoon.
You're worried.
I mean, I think you have to be. I mean, it's a 7-10 game. It's a game between two teams that, quite frankly, aren't all that different in terms of the metrics, the resumes. Like it just is what it is. I think when you get into March and you're playing a team that it's not like you're a 116 or a 215. I think you have to be a little bit worried. I'm not sure that this Kentucky team has been consistent enough against good teams for me to be overly confident in their ability to win the game. But yeah, I think they're better. I think they will win. But I'm not going to feel great about it until we get to about 3 o'clock and the scoreboard says what it says.
Okay, that's fair. Plus, it's the other thing too. This is the NCAA tournament, and although chalk usually reigns, there are some upsets. Let's go back to the Florida game. You put this tweet up, and if you tell me I'm out of line, please do it. You already know what I'm going to do anyway. Your tweet, this sounds harsh, and I guess it is, but you probably shouldn't get a technical down 12 when you're 5 for 17 with 4 turnovers. I'm not really a fan of the Otega Owe experience. Expound on that.
What I mean by that, and I followed it up pretty quickly because I knew the way they would be construed, and it was going to be construed in a way I didn't really want it to be, probably, but that's fine. And what I mean by that is, I don't think that you can be what we need or what we want Kentucky to be if Otega Owe is your best player. I said that before the season. The reason I did not think Kentucky was a Final Four team was because Otega Owe was our best player. That's not a terrible shot at him. I just think it's the truth for the type of player he is. He has issues handling the ball at times. He's not a lights out shooter. He's not going to create his own shot from 3-point range very often. He's a good but not great finisher. He's an okay but not a great playmaker for others. I think there is a ceiling on your team when Otega Owe is your best player. And I think that ceiling is Sweet 16, Elite 8, top 15 to 25 in the country, which is what we've been for a couple of seasons now. And I think that some of that is because of the level of our best player. It has nothing to do with Otega Owe personally. It's just that he's not an All-American type player. And I think that at Kentucky, to be a Final Four contender, you need an All-American. And I just don't think that Otega Owe is that player. He's very good. And as I followed up, I'm beyond thankful that he's on the team because, man, we would stink without him. But I also think that there is a ceiling when he is your best player.
Great comment, because, I really think Kentucky's problem is that there are teams with more talent. I think talent thing more than anything else. So you're backing up what my thought is anyway. I'm not ripping the kids on the team, not ripping at all. But I look at other teams and they have more talent. They just have more talent.
Yeah,
and now
absolutely.
you don't play hard, well, then takes the talent out the damn window because you're not playing hard enough. But I think their main problem is a recruiting issue. I do. And can Pope fix that? He can. Will he? Beats the hell out of me. I think we're going to find out. But, some of the teams that are ranked higher just have more talent. So picking back, and I wanted you to explain that because I can see somebody who saw it the first time and overreacted. And I know this, and so do you. Sometimes you say it and you mean it, but you don't mean it the way somebody else is going to take it. And I've been guilty of that. You're smiling because guess where? Been in that boat, brother. Been in that. And so I wanted you to explain it because if somebody doesn't like your opinion, so be it. Me too. But so people then to understand, because there's a lot of overreacting going on. Who was it? A national guy? I think it was Gary Parrish picked Santa Clara to beat Kentucky. Okay, that's his opinion. He doesn't hate Kentucky. And so this guy put on Pope's cast, why do all these national people hate Kentucky? I don't think Gary Parrish hates Kentucky. I really don't, by the way. I don't. He wasn't. I just think he thinks that Santa Clara could upset them. And there'll be other people picking Santa Clara. But there's an insecurity among some Kentucky fans, God forbid I should say that, to get people angry, to say, well, if you're not picking us, you don't like us or you hate us. That's not true. Now, there are some people who hate Kentucky. Okay, there is some of that. There's no question about that. But I think a lot of it is you don't pick them, you say you don't like me. Really? Really? I got to tell you, they play Iowa State, I'm not going to pick Kentucky. I would want Kentucky to win. I think Iowa State's a damn good basketball team. And actually, and I said this the other day, and I said it at the time, when Cal left, I put a list of 5 people together that I would contact. Patina was one of them, by the way. And TJ was in that list. I think he's a hell of a coach. I think he's a great coach. And I would have gone after him. Neither here nor there. I don't know if they called him. I don't know if they don't call him. I don't know if he wasn't interested. I don't know if it's I don't know any of that, just to be honest. But I think he's that good of a coach, and I think they have a bit. If they go to the Final Four, nobody's going to be surprised who knows basketball. So they beat Santa Clara, which I expect, and all of a sudden I go, oh, you know what? I think Iowa State's going to win, and I hope I'm wrong. I'm sure there's some people who will say, well, Cutler hates Kentucky, which would be a dumbass comment.
Yeah, the thought of Iowa State's defense is admittedly it's pretty concerning to think about Kentucky trying to handle the ball against their pressure, against the way they guard, the way they get up in you. It would take a heck of an effort from Kentucky to beat that Iowa State team. But just like we said, yeah, I mean, there's going to be people that are going to pick Santa Clara to upset Kentucky. There's also a chance Kentucky can upset Iowa State. Like that is the great thing about March Madness. It's the great thing about college athletics and sports in general, is that the best teams don't always win. When that best team is your team, you don't like when it happens, but sometimes you get to be on the other end of it. And I think that's what makes the tournament so special, is that we're going to get to see some of those opportunities. Santa Clara is going to take their best shot at Kentucky. If Kentucky's lucky enough to win, they're going to take their best shot at Iowa State, and we'll keep going from there.
And if Butler and Robinson were healthy, I think Kentucky would have beaten Tennessee and moved on to the Final 8. I'm not saying they won the national championship, but they would have moved on. Give yourself a great plug for everything you do, because you do a wonderful job, and I'm really glad you explained it that way, because, the way people are at times, oh, this guy, rah, 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 and that stuff drives me crazy. It's okay to disagree, but it's understand where that person is coming from, especially with your knowledge.
Absolutely. Thanks, Alan. Yeah, you can follow me on Twitter at BRamsey. KSR. Go subscribe to the Kentucky Sports Radio YouTube channel as well. We have a new episode of Zoom Action coming out at 4 p.m. this afternoon. Also have a bunch of videos going up previewing the NCAA tournament on my YouTube channel, the Brandon Ramsey College Basketball Show. So go subscribe there as well. All the written work goes on KentuckySportsRadio.com. And again, you can follow me on Twitter at BRamseyKSR.
And your beard's getting longer and longer. If it keeps on getting longer, I'm going to vision you with a horse and buggy.
All right. Yeah. Once that time comes, it'll be time to shave it. That's for sure.
He was priceless. Thank you for saving my you-know-what with me screwing up the schedule again. Bless you, brother. You do a great job. Everybody check him out. Thanks, Brandon.
Yep. Anytime, Alan. Thank you.
See ya. Coming up, we go from Herb Sendick to Brandon Ramsey to Derek Anderson right after the break. Blue Lotus Health, 859-533-0914, 859-533-0914. Acupuncture. Now also providing a licensed massage therapist. Ramon is great. He's helped me tremendously. Not too far from the radio station, Offer Sales Road, Blue Lotus Health. Please use my name when you call. Your health is the most important thing you can have, in my opinion. 859-533-0914. The great Derek Anderson. Next, Alan Cutler, 1300 AM, 92.5 FM.
No Filter Radio with Alan Cutler, brought to you by Quantrell Auto Group. QuantrellForLife.com.
Hi, this is Alan Cutler. Have a no filter comment? Hit the text line, 859-381-1313. 859-381-1313. Hi, this is Alan Cutler. Driving should feel personal, protected, centered, completely at ease the moment you pull onto the road. That's the Volvo difference. Thoughtful design, quiet confidence, and safety always working in the background so you can simply breathe and drive. We love our VC60. Plus, the luxury of Volvo is often more within reach than expected. Deserves your first look. At Quantrell Volvo, Brentley and Mark, friends of mine, they have built a dealership that's calm, respectful, and genuinely helpful. Right now, get 0.99%. That's 0.99% APR for 36 months on most 2026 models. See dealer for details. Visit QuantrellVolvo.com today.
Hey, I'm Dale Wise. I've just recently retired. I know that the electronics, if you don't keep up with it, it can get away from you and get real confusing. Republic Bank's app, I use their app, and it is so easy to use. I log in with my fingerprint, so it's super easy. I don't have to remember 50 million different passwords and all that stuff. And it lays it out just real nice.
That's Dale's story. Now let's get to work on yours. Republic Bank. Time to thrive. Member FDIC. Data rates may apply.
Hey everyone, it's Matthew Lawrence. Tomorrow at 4:30 on Wildcat Drive with me and Jimmy, Dr. Eli Capilouto will be in our studio for a discussion about many things. Lynn Martin, the owner of LM Communications Media Group, will join us. Text us, 859-381-1313, if you have a question for Dr. Eli Capilouto on Wildcat Drive.
W223CV Lexington. ESPN Sports Radio 1392.5. WLXG Lexington and LM Communications Broadcasting Station. The only no-filter sports show in Kentucky. It's the Alan Cutler Show with award-winning TV sportscaster Alan Cutler.
Welcome back. Alan Cutler, 1300 AM, 92.5 FM. He had a great smile. Still does. One of the great guards in the history of Kentucky. Smooth. A leader. I think he should be coaching. He should be like a head coach in the NBA or a head coach at a place like Kentucky and stuff like that. But he went into business instead, which means you're probably a lot smarter anyway. One of my favorite all-time former Kentucky players. I don't want to say Derek Anderson. I don't want to say DA because I know he's your DA. But I introduce you as Derek Anderson. See, look at that smile. Look at that smile. The only guy that has a better smile than you in Kentucky, I know you don't like this. I'm putting you in number 2. You know who that is? Reggie Hansen. I used to call him on TV, the man with the million.
He's a great guy, great brother too.
He's one of the most positive, great people you will ever meet.
All the time. Yeah. I read his book, so it's pretty cool. Yeah.
He's pretty cool, and he should be coaching too. I mean, he is what people need as far as look. The basketball knowledge, his basketball knowledge is good. Is great. Like your basketball knowledge is great. But I've always been, unless you're Patino and you're maniacal and you're crazy and you're that good, you get away. Most other things, you better be a good people person, even with great knowledge. And you have that, and Reggie has that, and Patino is something else. I got to share this with you before we get into this. This is great. I had Herb Sendek on to start the show because Herbie and I go way back. And Tubby has told the story, and I'm sure you've heard it, that he used to sleep with his shorts on, gym shorts and stuff like that, and have his socks on, and he would sleep with his socks, and he would have his shoes right by the bed because, God forbid, you were late for Patino's pickup games at 6 o'clock. Now, he told the story on the air, and it's funny. Here's the one he didn't tell that Herb told. He said, so, you know, he gets up and he goes down to Memorial Coliseum and it's pitch black and he's really ticked off. And he calls Herbie. He's not going to call Patino. Nobody's that dumb to call Patino. Where are you guys? Well, why did you tell me it was practice? I'm here. Nobody's here. Herb goes, Tubby, it's 3 a.m.
That's why.
And wouldn't that be so, Rick? Like with Pitino, you know, if you're not 5 minutes early, you're late, right?
You're late. Wildcat time. Yeah.
Give me a funny Patino story from your days. You're the Untouchables, win a national championship, all that good stuff.
Oh man, it was so many. We had a lot of fun stuff. I always mess with Jeff Shepard. We were playing and I had messed up, and Coach came down and yelled at Jeff, and I was standing behind Coach Patino, and Coach Patino was going off on Jeff Shepard, and I was like this. And I'm laughing, and Shep is trying not to laugh and looking at me and like, Coach, you think this is funny? And he's like, no, Coach, but Shep didn't tell on me. And I was just like, I wanted to say something so bad, but I was like, Jeff is just like, man, you're killing me, man. Like, but Coach is just one of those guys that like he doesn't see the joke and humor until he starts it.
Mm-hmm. And then later, one of the guys have told me for years, you know, when you get together reunions, stuff like that, and you start on him for the stories that he did, he laughs.
He laughed at all of them. Yeah.
I
He'll
mean,
tell the truth. He say, I was messing with you guys just because I wanted to make you guys play harder. We thought he was really being a jerk. And he's like, no, I'm just trying to make y'all play harder. I'm
maybe
like, oh, you aren't that mean.
maybe the best line was from Richie Farmer of all time. He said, we all had one thing in common when Patino got here, all the players. What's that? He said, we all hated him.
Yeah. He wanted you to. He wanted you to play hard.
Yeah. And by the way, Richie loves him now. So, I mean, there's no out there. How often does somebody ask you about 96?
I get more 97 from me being hurt because of who I am, but we always get talked about as the 96 team. All the guys will be like, man, y'all team was loaded. Then the next conversation or the first one is either one or but it's in the same conversation, 97, you'd have played. So I get a lot about the 96, especially other teams, so y'all were loaded. But then they always say, man, if you'd have played, y'all would have won 2 in a row. And I'm just like, yeah. Good point. Yeah,
So
I hate it all.
Sorry to interrupt you, but just very briefly, you ripped your knee and the doctor said you can come back, and Patino wouldn't let you come back because he was worried about your future. And I'm like everybody else. There's no doubt in my mind you guys would have won the national championship.
Yeah, if you look at a guy who's averaging 18 plus points, you know, and you take him out of the game, imagine you take anybody else's person who averages 18 points off their team. And we lost in overtime. So I talked to the guys at Arizona. They'd be like, yeah, it would have been a different game for you to play. And I was considered one of the better defenders, so I would have guarded Miles Simons. Had a great game. He kept ball faking people. I kept saying, stay down. And, you know, that was his thing. But, yeah, it's one of those woulda, coulda, shoulda things. But, I practiced 2 days in the tournament. And he even said it on some interview. Somebody sent it. I was the best player in practice. I was dunking, shooting, playing hard. And I'm like, all I needed was 5 minutes to do it. But he made the right decision and for my future. But as a kid and even now as an adult, I would have rather played. My legacy would have been for winning another championship. That's what I would rather have because who knows what the future is. I live in the kind of what he always told us, the precious present. So I would have rather played then and now.
You know, the other guy I feel sorry for is Anthony Epps because he hit an unbelievable shot. He just stopped and popped from over 30 feet, nothing but net. I mean, it's one of the two guys I always feel sorry for is Anthony Epps. That was an unbelievable shot. Unbelievable shot, but because Kentucky lost in overtime, nobody remembers it. And too many forget about Sean Wood's shot against
Duke. Yep.
Oh, you know, with Woods, I told him, I said, one, it was a lucky shot. The first time I said it to him, he started beaming at me.
Yeah, I'll tell everybody.
He said, I made that shot all the time. I said, Sean, I saw every shot you ever took in Kentucky. You never took that shot.
Yeah.
And those two guys would have gotten a lot more love. You too.
Well, I was just proud to be on the team, man. You know, we appreciated the front of the jersey just as we did the back. So it was just a great run, man. I remember all those. I remember guys' shots in practice, how many times they hit shots and one-on-one games. The memories are just unlimited, man. We had so much talent and we had fun. If you notice everything, even when I was like I transferred, it was like I could have scored, I could have shot at balls, I could have did more, but I wanted us to win, so I sacrificed I was passing the guys when I was open. I love to play with guys who really cared about winning. So it just translated into that, man. I just loved my teammates and playing in Kentucky.
To me, that'll be one of the greatest teams of all time. And what's kind of sad is, see if you agree with this. Had you played in 97, that would have amplified the 96 team. Hang with me a second, because people about doing back-to-back. And when you, that would have created even more attention to 96.
Correct.
And with Tubby winning in 98, and it's back-to-back, the last time that happened, there was a little school on the West Coast called UCL, whatever it is. And so if that happened, I think you guys, as high of regard as you guys are, I think you'd have a bigger national aura, a much bigger national aura, where the quote-unquote TV talking heads would be talking about you more in NCAA time.
Oh, 100%. They would have been looking at us as the standard. We would be considered kind of like the Alabama football standard, like they won that many championships. We would have been looked at that as a standard. So anybody would have compared us to, in the modern age too. It wasn't like it was the 70s where, probably 30 teams played each other. This is like the whole country playing. And I think we would have went down and stayed consistent. Like you said, every NCAA, who's going to break this standard? Who can actually catch them before? Even with Florida's back-to-back, they had their guys come back. Imagine if all our guys came back, from the 96 team, who could have. Like Antoine would have came back. Then he would have did it. Then imagine the next year Ron comes back at 90. Like, you just think of all the guys, if we stayed like those teams did, what we really would have done. But I think we're still legendary, though, in my eyes.
Well, and you know what? Nothing else matters. Well, look at it this way. UCLA, they wouldn't have had their run if guys could go to the NBA as quickly.
Yeah.
And
Lou Alcindor leaves his freshman year. Bill Walton leaves his freshman year. Like, yeah, I agree.
And I'm not taking anything away from them. What they did. But it's possible that could have been similar here, because at a point, now I know he went to Boston and he regrets it and all that kind of stuff, and that's fine. Let's forget about that. But, if you think you have a dynasty, maybe he would have thought differently. I don't know. I know he thinks about those things and doesn't like to talk about it, but he thinks about those things. But it could have happened here.
Absolutely. It did happen. I just didn't play it, the 97 team. He built it from where it was at to, and everyone who's played on that team, coach had him. Like the 98 team, he was transferred. He practiced under Coach Pitino. They all practiced under Coach Pitino. So that was still a legacy that he created. And I think he realizes that.
You love Pope. He's your guy. You and Cam Cricket are often seen like the Three Musketeers behind jumping up and down, and I say this with tender loving care. You know this. Jumping up, schoolboys or schoolgirls, whatever the hell you want to call it.
Schoolboys.
But seriously, but the point is, it's with joy, and with exuberance, and it's natural. And people don't usually act like that, but I look at it differently. Good for you that you have something that you enjoy so much, and you're so proud of Pope that you're jumping around like that. Because most people, if they had something to jump around like that, we'd be a better world. I'm not trying to get philosophical about it, but I really believe that. So tell me about Pope and coaching and relationship and this whole thing, and also, your boy Cricket and Mills, and maybe there's some others I'm forgetting about that sit with you that I don't see, jumping up and down in the joy that you guys have.
Well, it's like a family member. One of your brothers is successful. You always want to cheer. You look at if even if you're a parent or sibling, you always like, oh, look at my brother or sister's doing it. And you're like, wow, let's go support them. And you see anything good or bad, you always want to be there. It's like, hey, we're going to back you up. And the biggest part that I've always realized in growing is your love and your loyalty can't be swayed by ups and downs. And I think that's the biggest thing with other people. It's like, how serious do you really care about a person? It shows in their ups and downs. And, for us, it's just supporting our teammate, our brother, who we've known for 30 years, and just continue to support him, man. I love being in Kentucky. Like, no matter who's the coach, I just always want us to win. That's why when we say stuff, we're saying stuff with passion, we're saying with heart, not to criticize or not to hurt. It's like, if you're pointing something out to someone, you have to let them know, hey, let's do this, let's do that, to betterment. We're not saying, hey, you're this or that. We're just talking about how can we be better. Because I would want someone to tell me, if you saw me messing up and you cared about me, wouldn't you say something to me, or would you just let me crash out? And I think that's what we do. We love, supporting them, but we also we tell them the truth, especially in our group chats. They become really brutal on him.
He talks about that. He said that you guys pull no punches, which is, I know football players who do the same thing, and football players who do the show who get really strong with me, which is cool, but they won't get that strong, and they shouldn't, by the way. That's a personal, your brothers and stuff like that. And I, a couple things privately that I'm not using on the air. It's just not everything. I call the show No Filter, but not everything's for publication. And there are guys that trust me to tell me this, and I end up laughing hysterically.
Yeah.
And so guys will say, you do those kinds of things, but that's what it should be, and that's how it is. Plus, and I say this with loving kindness, there are times you're probably helping Pope and keeping him in line just by being a brother.
Yeah, absolutely. He, it's a learning curve for him. We were all different. He was a quiet captain when he was there. So, now him coming out of his shell, being a verbal captain, well, we need to be a little tougher. If you watch some people, I'll grab guys and bring them in. Anthony Epps was a great leader, greatest leader I've had. And I think when you grab guys like that, you pull them in. He's just not one of those guys. He's not one of those grab a guy by his shirt, tell him we got to go hard. He's one of the cheer guys, but he does it with a different type of discipline. And I think that's why we have to be that guy to get on him and say, hey, be a little tougher, be a little this. They can handle it, and we want to see you be better.
And he takes it the right way, I'm sure.
100%.
You just said something I've never heard anybody else say.
What's that?
I've always been a big fan of Anthony Epps. And I believe this, by the way. This is not Anthony. It's my philosophy about basketball teams. And I've talked to scouts through the years, not important. Sometimes when you have a team that's really, really, really special, like you guys were, there's somebody else who's also really, really special, but they're overlooked because the theory that we can only take so many guys in the NBA from a team, and yet Anthony was the quarterback of that team. And you just said he was the greatest leader you were around, and I always thought he could have played in the NBA forever. Even if it was a backup, he could hit a shot. He was smarter than you-know-what, was a leader.
Great defense.
Great defense, ferocious on defense. Maybe not the quickest guys, but guess what? He was a bulldog on defense, and I looked at him, and I'm going, what the hell's wrong with the NBA? I really think he should have played in the league, even as a backup, because coaches like, even if it's a backup, gee, he's a leader. He doesn't make any noise. He's going to do exactly what he's told. Guys that come off the bench can hit a shot and play defense. And I always thought he got screwed, if this is possible, because he played on a great team. Is that a nutty theory?
Well, yeah, he was the greatest leader and greatest point guard I've ever played with. And I played, with some great point guards in the NBA, but he was the greatest leader I've ever played with, hands down. He did everything the right way, from leading to grabbing us to talking to us. The greatest comment I've ever heard him say was, I didn't make millions, I created them. He made sure that we got the ball where we wanted to, did what he had to do. Like, he was great roommate, great everything. Like, to this day, I tell people, they say, well, man, who was your best point guard you played with? I said, Anthony Epps. They're like, huh? Who's that? And I'm like, no, he was my Kentucky point guard. He's the one got us better than my senior year. He got me around the ball wherever we wanted. He made sure everyone got the ball. If we threw him the ball, he knew to catch and shoot. Like, everything about this dude was a great leader. So, hands down, Anthony Epps was the best leader I've ever played with. But his thing with, I think, with the NBA, they were looking for fast scoring guards. He wasn't a scoring guard. He was a smart guard. He was a leader, but he could score if you needed him to. You look at it when he played in Lebanon, how he led all the other guys, Elton Scott and all them guys. He was the leader, great football player, led the team. Like, he's just a natural-born leader, and that's why he's coaching now. That's what he does. And I think that's just his attribute to being a great leader. And he's so smart. When you look at him, the guy's like, if I ever got a coaching job, I'd offer him a job. He's the smartest guy, one of the smartest guys I've ever known. I played for Rick Pitino, Pat Riley, Greg Popovich, and everything that Anthony said before I met them, for the NBA coaches, he would be saying the same things back then. So Epps is just a unique guy, man. He studied the game. He loves the game. That's where he gets his passion from loving it, and that's why he's one of the best players I ever played with and the smartest guys.
I'm going to save this long soundbite, and one of these days in the summertime, I'm going to have Anthony on, and I'm going to play that for him.
I'm hoping, yeah. He knows how we feel about him. We didn't start winning great until he became the point guard.
See, here's my hang up with the NBA and sports in general. If you're good, you're good. Okay, so there's a million. It's the skin of cat. So, okay, I'd like a fast guard who can do blank, 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 blank. Okay, I want a winner. And if somebody doesn't fit the mold of what you're looking for, break the damn mold. Gee, I could win games with that young man. Why wouldn't I want him on my team? I've scouts stereotype a certain angle. You know this for a long time, and coming back, big men weren't in. Dumber than a box of rocks. Now big men are coming back. If Jokic was coming out today, he'd be the first guy I'd pick. Was he picked in the first round? Yeah, how low was he picked? And he's not the only one because he was big. And the stereotype what these people are looking for drives me out of my mind. Look at it. Are you good? Are you smart? Are you a good dude? Are you a leader? Okay, you don't have that, but gee, your team wins. Why do they win? And there's been a lot of guys through the years that I think have been screwed.
You're 100% right. They're still being that way. Like when they said the one and dones, and if you're an older player, they're going to look at you as not a good player. And I'm like, a 23-year-old who's better than a 19-year-old, tell me where that makes sense. Where he's physically stronger, he's mentally, like everything, he's tougher. Why would you not pick a 23-year-old? But it was a stereotype in the NBA, and that's what they keep hiring the wrong people. If you look at the teams that are really good, it's the general managers who understand basketball and who allow the coaches to be in the room. When you look at these people who say, oh, we got a scout in our team, and the coaches are handcuffed and saying, this is the player you got me? He's like, I don't want this kid. I can't coach this kid. But yet the general managers and all everybody else will make it based upon relationships, based upon what they think that could happen, as opposed to getting someone who's a solid player. They keep doing it. Like Anthony Epps should have been drafted, not just signed, but he should have been drafted. Even if it was second round, they would have been like the number one team, whoever won the national championship. He could have backed up Derek Fisher. Anthony Epps was just as easily backed up Derek Fisher and did the same thing Derek Fisher did. Played hard defense, hit open jump shots. Same thing, same height, same everything. And it's just the politics of the world, man. It's just the NBA, and a lot of guys are just being, hired and picked up as a friendly thing, and that's why a lot of teams suffer. You look at a lot of them just don't pick up the right guys, and that starts from the top to the bottom.
This hurts. That's a better analogy than I came up with, Derek Fisher. And Epps is taller, and I think a little quicker. But it took a coach like Phil Jackson to understand what Derek Fisher had. He'd have been a great backup for Derek Fisher. Great backup for Derek Fisher. And look at all the coaches that didn't want to give Derek Fisher a chance.
Just need to put on the right team, right coach, and understand the system. And Anthony Epps could have fit any system.
My heart is breaking for Epps right now. It really is. He should be. He should be. If he wants to coach his high team, God bless. But he should be sitting with 15, 20 million bucks in the bank doing it.
Yeah, I agree. 100%.
Interesting. And I am going to save that bite to play from later on. What do you think of this Kentucky team? I know you got blue in your eyes, but I also know you're honest. To me, I think that they're lacking some talent. For example, last year, had Butler been healthy, and Robinson the other day had 42 points in the G League, by the way. I don't know if you saw it. And about before that, he had 35. And he had just come off his best 5 games combined when he got hurt. And I think they would have beat Tennessee. I said this at the time if those two kids were playing. Kids, I don't mean it that way. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I get what you're saying. Yeah.
If those two kids played, they would have made the Final 8. I'm not saying they won a national championship, but they would have the Final 8, and people would look at Pope differently. Oh, he got to the Final 8 in his first year. Oh, that's really good. Not that it's bad getting to the Sweet 16, but as you know, as we all know, the Final 8 is different. And I think some of the heat he's taken is because of the injury. Some of it, but not all of it. Is that fair?
Yeah, I think you're going to get criticized. If you win the championship, you'll still get criticized before you win the championship. You know what I mean? Like last year's teams, whoever was like before, they were talking about how they did. The situations are, you go through ups and downs. You're young kids figuring it out. But I think Pope's in a unique situation because when the guys were healthy, it was still rotation trying to figure that out. And look how many times he was talking about, I got to play guys more. I think it's just trying to figure out who's healthy, who's going to be there. Like we literally could have 2 starters. 2 guys that's hurt right now be starters. And I think that's a tremendous – you take 2 starters off any team and watch the difference. You just have to change up with what you have, kind of like Patino did. Once that one hurt, he put in smaller guards and made different rotations. You have to adjust. And I think that's what we're trying to get Pope to understand, just to adjust, especially even in game. And I think the talent, the energy, it's up and down. Well, the talent's there, but I think the energy sometimes is up and down as far as the IQ part of it. How many times do we see guys take charges and rotate? I think we need to work on some of those things. Like guys are running past guys, reaching, like go down and grab the ball two-handed and just, get a tie up, try to get a jump ball. got to be a little more physical. But I think the guys overall are good kids, great, good athletic players. It's just putting them in the right situation and then them giving their all the effort wise and being smart about it. You look at some of the fouls we get, they be like just unnecessary. Like, that wasn't smart. I would get one unnecessary foul in the first half, but then after that, I would never foul out the game. I understood how to adjust. So I just think some of the little small things and not arguing with the officials, that really bothers me. Stop looking at the officials so much. We'd have did that. We'd have been taking out the game so fast. Like, stop wasting your time. And I think focusing on the play after you make a mistake, just focus on the next play. I think that'll get us to a better position, especially in the tournament. You can't worry about anything. You got to play the next play.
Can't imagine a player take the best player in the country, take the top 10 players, arguing with official, and then actually winning or getting a call later. It drives me out of my mind. Like a cool thing to do. I think some of the NBA are tired of Doncic complaining as great a player he is. They're tired of Durant. They're tired of LeBron. This is one of the greats of all time. They're tired of taking the flack, and I'm surprised the league doesn't cut that off. But since the NBA guys do it, the guys who think they're really cool in college, well, if they can do it, I'm cool in college. I'll do it too. I think it's a trickle-down effect.
But here's the thing: the coaches in college don't want to have control when they do have control. You have the kid's future in your hand. If he doesn't want to do right, and then you take him out, and he acts a fool, then the NBA says we don't want him. But some of the coaches won't be tough enough and say, "Hey, I'm going to teach you to take you out of this game in this way. If I'm going to get fired, it's going to be my way." The NBA is a policy game. If you get paid $10+ million, they got to play you. I don't care how good the bench guys are. There's guys that's on the bench that are cooking these starters, but because the other guy makes money, he can't play. That's different. But when you're in college, the coaches have the right to make those decisions. You have to be tough and stern about that. Now, I ain't saying you can't overboard it, but you have to do things to make these kids understand. What I say is the decision maker for the betterment of our team.
Derek Anderson for maybe another minute or so, which we appreciate your time. It's nice talking to you, dude. Seriously.
Always, man. Always.
I don't think it's a coincidence. I'm a huge Kelvin Sampson fan. I love Kelvin Sampson. I think he's one of the ultimate greats. I think kids, the hugs that I've seen for years on senior day that his kids give him, I don't give a crap about him being tough. Nobody hugs a coach like that unless you don't know that your coach loves you. And Izzo got one of his big men that was just. I got emotional watching Kelvin Sampson getting hugged and Izzo getting hugged, and these old guys that are considering too tough. These old guys love their kids, otherwise they still wouldn't be around and still couldn't recruit. And last thing to throw at you, I honestly don't believe that there's enough tough love in college basketball today. I think it's a shame. I think a lot of coaches either are not comfortable in their own skin or afraid to do it. Am I nuts?
No, you're 100% right. I still hug Coach Pitino like it's the championship game. Every time I see him, just tell him, "Thank you, man. I love you, man. See you next time." Like, I love that man. Like, he helped me become a better person and player. I still hug my high school coach. He helped me become a better person, a better player. So when coaches have an impact on you, man, you truly appreciate the yelling and screaming. That doesn't bother you. It's the intent behind it. I don't care if you're nice or not. You can be super nice, but I can say, you know what, you're not helping me be better. So you're not my cup of tea. I think that's the difference. How was your intent on making sure that I'm a good person and a better player? So yeah, I agree with you, and I think the coaches have, and I think the adults all the way around. I was talking about the other day. Why are we playing cuss words in music on high school and gyms when there's kids involved? What are the adults doing? And the coaches are falling right in line. Just play the instrumental. Play the same beat, play the instrumental. Like, why are y'all not being adults and leading these kids? And then you wonder why the kids go out and do stuff that they're doing. I was like, there got to be some accountability for these adults. And it's like the coaches and the adults have to work together. And I think that's what we're missing. The coaches are literally becoming like, just letting their players do whatever they want, just do this and that, then you don't take them out. And then what do you think is going to happen when he leaves? He's going to get into the real world where discipline matters. No discipline for the pros. You'll be out of there. You'll be overseas. The next guy comes to you, then you can't get a coaching job. Now nobody wants to hire you in the workforce. And then we're looking at kids who are depressed and angry because they don't have discipline. So I think it starts from the head down, from the head coach and all the way through to implement, common courtesy and good people skills and respect for each other and yourself.
That's beautifully said. That's beautifully said. Hey, I let everybody plug whatever they want to plug. Your business, whatever you're doing. You, DA, Derek Anderson, one of my all-time favorites. Something you want to plug?
Nah, man, just keep believing in Kentucky, man. And I'm always here as a part of a Big Blue Nation. And just, my foundation is everything is okay, which is acts of kindness. And I just want to, hopefully we can change the world every day by changing the character.
Give a plug for your foundation, please.
Oh, Stamina Foundation is based upon teaching kids how to become better people with common courtesy, people skills, and life experiences. And we make sure that everybody treats each other with a good handshake and just tell everybody everything is A-OK.
Good handshake and look in the eye.
Yes, sir. Respect.
Yeah. Hey, DA, God bless you. Thank you for joining me. Maybe this summer or something, I can tap you again in your busy schedule.
Absolutely, man. Looking forward to it, Al.
Hey, bless you, dude. Bless you.
You too. All right.
Eric Anderson, Jimmy, I'm telling you, one of my all-time favorite people who just happened to be a great basketball players. Unbelievable. And what a special man. Just a special man. He should be a head coach. Jared Peck is here. We got to take a quick break. Jared, hang on. I'm sorry for being a little late, but I'm sure Jared's going to be shocked to hear this. I have a big mouth, and sometimes I go a little bit long. I think he's about to laugh at me or saying he's not surprised. I want to talk high school. I want to tap into his knowledge. But first, I want to say Terry Page. Terry Page. Not a very good, a great licensed massage therapist. Please check her out. Please use my name. She's been a blessing for me. 859-373-0578. 859-373-0578. In Butler, Kentucky, Monday and Tuesday. In Lexington, Thursday and Friday. Actually, right by Ramon Carriega. It's a block away, 820 Porter Place, off for Sales Road. You go down the end of the block and go on the side. The entrance is on the side. It's a new office. It's bigger. It's going to be better for her. Check her out in Suite 3. Terry Page, please use my name. She is a healer. She's helped me tremendously. 859-373-0578. Sweet 16 time with Jared Peck for the Herald Leader. Coming up next, Alan Cutler, 1300 AM, 92.5 FM.
The Alan Cutler Show on ESPN 92.5 and 1300 AM and on the ESPN Lexington app. Presented by Republic Bank.
Hi, this is Alan Cutler. Have a no-filter comment. Hit the text line, 859-381-1313. 859-381-1313. Hi, this is Alan Cutler. Driving should feel personal, protected, centered, completely at ease the moment you pull onto the road. That's the Volvo difference. Thoughtful design, quiet confidence, and safety always working in the background so you can simply breathe and drive. We love our VC60. Plus, the luxury of Volvo is often more within reach than expected. That's why Volvo deserves your first look. At Quattro Volvo, Brentley and Mark, friends of mine, they have built a dealership that's calm, respectful, and genuinely helpful. Right now, get 0.99%. That's 0.99% APR for 36 months on most 2026 models. See dealer for details. Visit QuattroVolvo.com today.
March is here, and Clark's Pump and Shop has the game-winning specials to keep you fueled all month long. Whether you're hitting the road to catch a game or hosting a watch party, we've got unbeatable monthly deals. Stop in and pick up assorted M&M or Twix share-size candy bars, 2 for $4, and Mike and Ike's or Hot Tamale stand-up bags, 2 for $7. This March, make every stop a winner at Clark's Pump and Shop. Return, refresh, refuel.
Hey, I'm Dale Wise. I've just recently retired. I know that the electronics, if you don't keep up with it, it can get away from you and get real confusing. Republic Bank's app, I use their app, and it is so easy to use. I log in with my fingerprint, so it's super easy. I don't have to remember 50 million different passwords and all that stuff. And it lays it out just real nice.
That's Dale's story. Now let's get to work on yours. Republic Bank. Time to thrive. Member FDIC. Data rates may apply.
Listen to the Alan Cutler Show weekdays noon to 2 on ESPN 92.5 and 1300 AM and on the ESPN Lexington app. Back to No Filter Radio with Alan Cutler. Podcasts on Apple, Spotify, and Google, Monday through Friday.
Welcome back. Alan Cutler, 1300 AM, 92.5 FM. Really pleased that Jared Peck, who's busy with the Sweet 16, had to get him today because tomorrow he's going to be at Rupp Arena and can't talk to me, and I get it unless I'm sitting next to him. Jared Peck, who's been studying all the teams, does a wonderful job for the Herald Leader. Jared, thanks for joining us. No pressure, but tell me who's going to win the boys' Sweet 16.
I picked George Rogers Clark against St. X, and that's probably wrong. But
okay.
I think it's a wide open tournament, so I have no idea what's going to happen. But I make picks every year, so I don't mind being wrong. Prove me wrong. Let's go. Let's see what happens.
I should know this, but I don't. Has it ever happened that the same school won the boys and the girls tournament, the Sweet 16, in the same year?
I haven't looked that up. I am not sure. That'd be interesting, though.
I don't think in my time. I mean, I go back to the early 80s, and I'm sure there are some Sweet 16s I don't remember, and a lot of times.
Lexington Catholic might have done it, but it would have been close. I mean, Lexington Catholic had good boys and girls teams at the same time in the early 2000s, but I'm not sure if they coincided or not.
Okay, you're talking about when Danny Haney was coaching.
Oh, yeah.
Back in the good. Danny did the show a couple months ago. It was nice catching up with him. Take a look at the quality of basketball. True confessions, I don't follow it like I did when I was doing TV and the high school show and all that kind of stuff. To be honest, it's a smidgen in comparison to the way I used to follow it. I'm just right or wrong. I'm just being honest. Is the quality of the game as good? Is it better? Is it not as good? When you take a look at the quality of the game, as more of these guys are getting trained earlier and earlier. I mean, you see kids dribbling a basketball when they're 5 and 7 and going to camps and those kinds of things, which has been going on for quite a long time. But to me, there's a generational effect. Are kids better today than ever before, or no?
I think the trend is that athletes always get better as time goes on. Whether the game has gotten better or not is arguable. I mean, we've had some prep school defections of some of the top players. What I look at in high school sports is parity and whether it's competitive or not, whether or not somebody's on another level. Is the game competitive? Are the games exciting? I think, the girls tournament held that up last week. We had some exciting games. Even the blowouts, we had, records set and things like that. I think competitive is what I root for.
Okay.
And compelling. And I think that regardless of how you perceive how skilled they are, any game can be a compelling game. And any game can also be a boring game. But I would think that the players today are a little better. Is this the best class of players we've seen in the last several years? No, we don't have Reed Shepherd in the field. We don't have Travis Ferry in the field. We don't have Malachi Marino in the field. We don't have any players like that this year. I mean, I think we're in a year where we have some teams with a lot of major talent. But that doesn't mean that this tournament can't be compelling.
Sure. And oftentimes talent goes in cycles, like in college. This year, it's a great freshman class. Great freshman class. Next year is not supposed to be as good. And this class this year is better than the year before. It kind of goes in cycles. We had Robbie Graham on yesterday, and I was really happy for him. This is the 5th time they made the state championship game, and they thought they had it won. As you know, you were there. Last year, I was not there. Thought they had it won. They lost it at the end, and he just admitted it haunted him and his girls like crazy, and it helped fuel them to winning this year. And I was happy. You go to the 5 times, and somebody's a really good dude. You root for him, and I was happy for Robbie Graham and his team.
Yeah, and it's that had been coming for a while, and they've been knocking on the door. That I looked at it, and their tournament run over the last 7 years, they were always beaten by the eventual champ for 7 years in a row.
Wow!
They drew Sacred Heart for 3 or 4 of those years. They drew Mercer County twice when Mercer County won.
Oh my God!
They drew another team, Ryle. They drew Ryle when Ryle won. So they were always probably the number 2 or number 3 team in the state, and they would get clipped in either the first round, second round, semifinals, just because of the luck of the draw. So they didn't, they only got to the finals under Graham last season and this season. So they've been to the finals before Robbie got there. But they have the first couple of times they got beat by somebody else, but the last several trips they found the eventual state title holder in an early round and got knocked out.
Wow,
So that's wild.
That is, I didn't know that. You say luck of the draw. I guess you could also say no luck in draw.
Yeah, well, I mean, people tomorrow we have number 2 versus number 3. The top 2 ranked teams in the boys tournament are squaring off at 11 a.m. Wednesday, and number 2 Covenant Catholic and number 3 St. X, and they've both been number 1 this year. And the luck of the draw has 7th region versus 9th region, and here we go. So that's great for everybody else because they're not going to have to see one of those teams. But not so great for the fans who want a seeded bracket.
A couple other people have told me that the winner of this game might end up winning the state championship. One never knows. But I also think there's a tremendous advantage when you play Wednesday that you have a day off. And I'm still not sure I know how to do it better. So then I can't criticize. But I have seen, and I'm sure you have seen many times, where somebody who's playing on Thursday, their legs are dead by the time they play Saturday night, get to that point. And I think there have been a number of teams, and I take nothing away from the winners, and I'm not going to give examples kind of on purpose, but neither here nor there. I think there have been some teams who haven't won the tournament because they played, 4 games in 3 days. And I know you're saying they're young, but it does affect you. And through the years, I've had guys, so have you, who have said, we were cramping up like crazy, but you got to fight through it. Come on, our whole life we dreamed about doing this. I don't have a fair way of doing it, so I'm not criticizing the KHSAA, but I think there's a tremendous advantage playing on Wednesday versus Thursday. Do you agree?
I think it's an advantage. I have to study it to see how much of an advantage it is. I think that the best teams are going to come through no matter what. No matter what, you have to win 3 games in 24 hours, the way it's set up. So that's a lot. And I mean, some teams try to do that during the year. They'll schedule a Friday night game and a Saturday morning game the next day and see how they handle it. And I've seen that happen in the girls' side this year. I'm not, when you play in the December holiday tournaments, you're going bang, 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 and playing that kind of schedule just to kind of get ready for that. In the Lexington Catholic Holiday Tournament, 7 teams in that 16-team field in Lexington back in December are here this week in Rupp Arena. So they're all preparing for that kind of scenario. They know what the score is, that's what they've got to do. And, they're young kids, generally people just go, they're young. They'll be fine.
Do you think the tournament would be better? And I haven't asked recently, but in the 80s, it was explained to me, and I respect it, that if you stretch it out to Sunday, that's another night in hotels for a lot of people that can't afford it. Those kinds of things. And it was a smart thing to try to take care of people. And I get it. But do you think the tournament would be better if they played on a Sunday afternoon, the championship, or let's say on a Sunday night?
They had done that for a while until COVID hit, I think. And we were playing Sunday championships for a couple of years.
Remember?
Yeah, but I think that ended because of COVID. And I think that, it's also renting Rupp Arena is a cost. As well. And, I think the overhead became a factor in that. It is, definitely a burden to be in Lexington if you're not from here and having to stay an extra night. And like I said, 12 hours rest versus 4 hours rest. I mean, they're playing as soon as they leave here, they're going to go play an AAU tournament. They're going to play 4 games a day. I mean, yeah, so.
Jared Peck of the Lexington Herald Leader kind enough to join us, but they're not playing defense like they're going to be playing at Rupp Arena.
That's true. But they're not going to be playing the talent level that they're playing because the talent level is a little higher at AAU, most likely, in a lot of cases, than what they'll face here in Rupp. That's why we have some blowouts in the early in the week.
And by the way, and I respect the fact that you got to rent Rupp. Easy for me not to say, which is expensive as well. Anything else about this tournament that excites you? You have a favorite memory? You've covered the tournament for years. A favorite game, a favorite memory, a favorite player, somebody who overcame all kinds of odds. Somebody, the joy when somebody wins, and it always hurts your heart when you see kids crying on the other side after they've lost it. Is there a story or something, a moment that sticks out?
Now, I've been very blessed to cover, some of the greatest high school players that the state has seen in the last few years. I got Travis Perry's run, Malachi Marino's run. Something that sticks out to me is Trent Noah and Travis Perry squaring up against each other in the final, and Perry pulling on him from the logo and making that shot. That was a pretty cool memory, and I had a photo of that I captured. I had the video of that on my phone that I probably posted on X. That was really cool, and it's just been, there's a lot of special memories. I mean, it's the greatest show in hoops, they say in the introductions, and they're not wrong. I mean, I'm having a ton of fun doing it.
I think they used to call it, when I got here, the greatest show on earth.
It's hoops. They say hoops now.
You know what? Put up that Perry Noah thing now, saying go down memory lane. You want to tag me? I'll retweet it. I bet a lot of people would love to see that again. I think that's absolutely worth retweeting.
Yeah, I mean, it was cool.
Appreciate your time. Enjoy the tournament. Hope to see you on press row, and enjoy the next 4 days where you're going to get no sleep. And I don't know how the hell you write a story and you take video on your phone.
It's the phone's my notebook. That's how.
Okay.
Basically. So, and we have statisticians to keep track of the other stuff. It's a lot, Alan. I'm not going to let you. I'm not digging coal or anything, but I get it's a thing. I've got a few skills.
But it keeps because your mind's going 100 miles an hour. Folks, read him at the Lexington Herald Leader. He's covering every inch of the tournament. Appreciate you, Jared. See you at press row, and thanks for carving out some time when I know starting tomorrow you're going to be nuts.
Yeah, it's a full glance is already on Kentucky.com. Every team, every top scorer, every college prospect, they're all there. Kentucky.com right now, and in some of the paper tomorrow.
And also give your Twitter handle so people can.
I'm at HL Preps, and I'll have all the important highlights on there. So it'll be fun.
Great.
Looking forward to it.
See you, Rupp. Thank you so much. I appreciate your time.
Thank you.
Jared Peck. Hey, Jimmy, you made it to the station. It's interesting. So Jimmy started at his house today because of the weather and just made it to the station. You've had a heck of a day too, haven't you?
I have. It feels like I kind of time traveled.
Yeah. I'm not trying to one-up you, but you haven't had the day I've had.
No. And I did not need all-wheel drive to get here.
No. The roads, I'm sure, are much better.
Much better.
Let's put it this way. I'll end up at the Y today, but this morning I thought there was no shot of ending at the Y today. I don't know if you got to hear Derek Anderson in the car coming over, but his analysis of Kentucky and Pope and what coaches should do was absolutely beautiful. The podcast will be up at 2:30, and one of the better conversations, talking to Herb Sendek, that was great. His story about Tubby in the 3 a.m. You were here for that, right?
Yes. Yeah.
I got to say this again. I can't wait to have Tubby on the show again, because he's told that story, but not that story. And at a fear factor, seriously, that you can't be late for Pitino's pickup games. So and I wish I could have been a fly on the wall when he was telling Donna the first time he did it, when she's going, "What the blank are you doing?" Because he would go to sleep in his gym shorts and his socks, right, and his workout shirt, and put his sneakers by his bed, so that he would have to do nothing but get out the door and get to Memorial Coliseum. They had these pickup games at 6 a.m., and God forbid if you were late. That's just the way it was with Pitino. Well, one day, he gets up, he goes to Memorial Coliseum, and it's pitch black, and he's really mad. Now, you're not going to call Pitino, right, and say, "Hey, you canceled this, whatever, why didn't you tell me?" He calls Herb. And Herb says, "It's not 6 o'clock in the morning, it's 3 o'clock in the morning." Tubby has never told that part of the story. He is funny talking about how he'd put his shorts and, hey, my shorts, my jock, my T-shirt, my socks are on. It's by the bed, and I'm boom out the door. Absolutely out the door. You know, the one thing I was going to talk about today, and I did not, Yaxel Lindbergh, the kid from Michigan. This has been such a good show. I shouldn't call anybody a dumbass, but this is a dumbass move. Why would you do this? He says Kentucky offered between $7 and $9 million in the transfer portal, and he went to Michigan because that's where he wanted to go, and he thought Michigan would be better for him, and that Mays, the Michigan coach, never talked about money. I got to tell you, I'm not into calling anybody a liar. I don't believe Kentucky offered $7 or $9 million. I don't know what he got at Michigan, but Jimmy, why would anybody turn down $7 to $9 million? That's one. Two, if Kentucky had a $22 million budget, as Ben Roberts put out forever ago, okay, you're going to spend that much money on one player? Three, it doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make, and why would you need to say that now? Why would you need to say that? And by the way, if Kentucky really did offer $7 or $9 million, I'd be happy to say it. And sometimes things happen when you go, I can't believe it, and it really did happen. I don't believe it. Do you believe it?
No, that I just don't think I could buy that.
So why say it?
Yeah.
Why say it? And by the way, I don't know. You know who Front Office Sports is?
I follow them, but I don't know who runs it or who created it or anything like that.
Okay, I'm the same with you. I follow him, but I have no idea. So I hesitate with saying this. And I don't know if I believe this crap either. They say Indiana spent the most money at $32 million. I have trouble believing that. And by the way, Kentucky got outbid for the Wilkerson kid. I do absolutely believe that, by the way. And then Tennessee's at 23, Arizona at 22 plus, Texas at 22 plus, UConn 21.5, and that wouldn't shock me, by the way. Arkansas at 21.2, that would not surprise me at all with the kids that Cal has and where he's got his money from. Michigan State at 21, that really surprises me, by the way. I could be wrong. Then Kentucky 8th at 20.7. Then Auburn 20.5. And think about it. They thought Bruce Pearl was still going to be there, and he helped raise money. And then Louisville at 19.8. I have no idea if all this is true. I just have trouble believing that Indiana got $32 million. Do you?
Yeah, that especially with the way their season's gone. And just seeing the guys that they have, like I don't see $32 million there.
Not close to it.
No.
Not close to it. And I thought about this. Should I not give this some airtime? But it's going around, and I thought it was worth saying. Huge thanks to Herb Sendek. That was great. Huge thanks to Derek Anderson. That was great. Brandon Ramsey, God bless you. Switching times for me. You're always special. Jared Peck, High School Sports. Check him out. Coming up at 4 o'clock.
Wildcat Drive with Matthew and Jimmy.
And your special guest tomorrow afternoon?
President Eli Capilouto will be on our show at 4:30.
Brad Taylor coming up next. Mama and the baby doing great?
Still doing great.
Your eyes, your circles in your eyes are not as bad. You getting a little more sleep?
We got a little more sleep yesterday. Just tiny bits each day is all we can hope for.
Guess what? It's a blessing. Bless you and your family. Appreciate you, dude. Brad Taylor coming up next. I'm Alan Cutler. Have yourself a